Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me, and now let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Networking and Marketing Made Simple. Super excited for today's episode, and I know all of you are as well. As you know, this is a Thursday interview episode, so it is your opportunity as entrepreneurs and business owners to hear someone else's journey of what they've had to go through and grow through in order to get to where they are right now. And the person that I have for you today has an interesting journey to share, a lot of amazing things that they focus on, more so now in the mindset coaching space, which I feel is still such an advantageous thing for people to invest in, because the 6 inches between our ears ends up being the space that either can help us or hurt us along our journey. And the transition that this individual made, going from a top-tier Pilates instructor and influencer to what they are doing now, is a story that needs to be heard. So with all that behind us, Jennifer Pilates, welcome to today's episode.
Thank you so much, Scott. I'm so honored to be here and excited to be a part of your show and your community.
Well, I know my community and myself are as well. So before we dig into all the mindset stuff that you're focusing on right now, I always like to rewind the tape before we go forward. So if you could go back within the journey that you've been on and you could stop at a specific point that you can recall that you really feel was that pivotal moment for you, or that kicking out of the nest moment for you that has set you on this path that you're now currently on, what was that moment for you?
It was definitely back in 1997 in a car accident. And I was heavy in the corporate world, climbing the ladder. I had all my ducks in a row at a very, very young, early 20s, not out like everyone else, like having fun. Like I was on the ladder. And I think the universe was going, okay, we really need to get her on her path, because while she's on a path, clearly it wasn't the path. However, the experience was amazing. And I was 20 some years of an experience, and very grateful for that. And the car accident happened in Boulder, Colorado, and literally changed my life. I went from going to work every day from 9 to 5 to being in doctor's offices 7 to 8 hours a day, whether it was a chiropractor, a massage therapist, neurologist, you name it, psychologist. I was seeing them, and it was very intense. And I think, I was in such shock, and you're in such trauma, you don't realize what you're going through when you're in it. And so I was very open. I was in Boulder, Colorado, so the wellness mecca of the United States when that happened. Coming from Cape Cod, I had never experienced half of what I was experiencing. And one of the main pivotal appointments was being given the opportunity to work with Pilates in a rehabilitative setting. And that really set me up, not only to become my own specialty, but set me on this holistic practitioner, entrepreneurial path of body, mind, and spirit, and really wanting to empower others and help them transform their lives as mine had been transformed in that one huge pivotal moment.
So for, in part of my journey, I was in a health and wellness practitioner for 18 years. I owned multiple gyms. I was a trainer, nutritionist, but two of my dear friends, actually my wife and I, two of our dear friends are top tier Pilates instructors. And I was a competitive bodybuilder and power lifter in my younger days. And I used to go see one of my dear friends, Jody, and she taught me Pilates. And for me, I always loved challenges. I always loved being pushed, because I think as human beings, we kind of get in our routines and we get accustomed to certain things, and it becomes kind of that monotonous routine that we go through. And what I personally loved about my experience with Pilates, and I wasn't doing mat Pilates, I was doing the reformer, the Cadillac, I was doing the machines. And it was a challenge because I was using parts, and if you saw me, you're like, he's strong, but when you're forced to use some of the, slow twitch muscles, right? And the, engaging your core in a different way, it really kind of shifted my trajectory of how I thought, not only just about my body, but about what I could accomplish. Because it also taught me that mediocrity is something you don't want to shoot for. And it's not about being the best in the world, but pushing yourself, because every single time you push yourself, it's an opportunity to grow and expand. So going through that experience yourself, because again, you did the full gamut, psychologist, physical therapy, chiropractor, general practitioner, you saw all the specialists, and then you landed on Pilates. What was it specifically about Pilates that helped you form that mind body connection where, your mind was open, your body was receiving what you were giving to it, that allowed you to then say, you know what, if this has worked for me, I can help other people the same way?
Absolutely. I'll never forget the day. And, everything that you're saying about Pilates is so spot on. And I'm so grateful to hear that you've had amazing experiences with it, because it truly is a special modality. The day that I went in, and it was sort of like in between graduating from rehabilitative Pilates to actually beginning my Pilates school training. And I went in and I was on the reformer, and I was laying down, and I was about to do something that everyone will call very basic. It's called our footwork. And you lay down, and it's not a big deal, but it is such a big deal when done correctly. And in that moment, I so just closed my eyes and got into my body and my breath, and the tears started. I mean, even right now, like, I can feel it. It was the moment that my body finally went, we're safe. It's okay. And that body, mind, spirit connection was so powerful for me. It's still so powerful for me. It's like it just happened a moment ago. That changed everything for me. Like, I just knew that I wanted to dive, right in, and wanted to be able to share this with so many people. And my mission has always been, if I could just help one person not be in pain. And out of this came helping thousands and thousands of people around the world, not only not be in pain, but understand how important that body, mind, spirit connection is.
So through that personal journey for yourself first, and then obviously that led to the business and the growth there second, what was something that you learned about yourself through that personal journey through Pilates that you didn't realize you had inside of you? Because there's a lot of people that will say, I didn't realize how resilient I was. I didn't realize, how good I was at pushing through pain and discomfort. What was something that Jennifer learned about herself through that experience that you didn't know about you?
I did not realize that I didn't live in my body. So having grown up through a lot of trauma, like many of us do, and being an intuitive empath, and all of this bubbling up and out through Pilates, is when I realized I never truly was living in my body. And so this brought about a whole new opportunity to meet myself, and to meet myself on that soul level.
Now, pivoting and transitioning, obviously, you wanting to share this with others. How did the business concept, come about? Because obviously, you were a practitioner first personally, and then you were obviously looking to take this to the marketplace. What was that transition like for you, going from student to teacher? Because again, it's a lot of the same journey. That person gets into yoga, they're inspired, they go get their yoga certification, they start teaching, they open up a studio, that personal trainer, right? They start working out, they start helping some people, and they want to start, obviously getting certified. What was that journey for you, going from student to teacher?
It was just such a leap of faith. So I like to say I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur, and I just jumped. I didn't think twice about it, because it was so about the heart and about serving and showing up. And so I immediately started working part-time in a studio in Boulder. And then from there, I transitioned back to the East Coast where I was from and attempted to open up and start offering my own classes. And at that point on Cape Cod, I was so far ahead. I was like 5 to 6 years ahead of where everyone on Cape Cod was. They weren't ready for it. And I honored that and I understood that. Well, I attempted to understand it. It was definitely a little frustrating. As being an entrepreneur can be, I went back to Colorado, back to where my best friend was out there, and started teaching privately. And it was one person who believed in me who said, I'll help you open a studio. And that's how it happened. And that was one, and one studio became another studio, became another studio. And it's very, I would say, like, I'm so addicted to being an entrepreneur. That's really, truly like another reason why being a coach became so important, because I didn't want to have one more studio or one more brick and mortar. I wanted to help other people. I wanted to get that same adrenaline rush and then be able to sit back and be like, okay, but like, I don't really have to do everything. Like I can be a part of it and not be a part of it and still just relish in the beauty of it all.
So when did you come to the realization that there was a connection between what you were doing as a teacher of Pilates, but also there was an aspect of coaching involved from the mindset portion of things where you're like, you know what? Instead of trading time for dollars in the sense of teaching class after class after class, because I can relate to that being a trainer and, owning gyms, the brick and mortar aspect, where was that light bulb moment for you when you're like, you know what? I can really connect the dots through the coaching aspect, through some of the mindset shifts that I had to make that I'm helping other people make, and I can turn that into the business. When did that realization come to place?
I had glimmers right after Pilates school when I was in Boulder. However, it wasn't until I was in my Pilates studio in Osterville, actually, on the Cape, that it really became apparent to me, because the Pilates sessions were very much becoming a mindset coaching session, a life coaching session, a business session. And it was one client who really looked at me and said, you literally have saved my life. And you've given me a voice I didn't know that I had. And now, mind you, all of this is happening during a Pilates session. So I really knew that there was more that could come from this if given, that steady one-on-one time with coaching as well. There's so much you can do when you can come full circle, and knowing that if a Pilates session can turn into a coaching session, then how can a coaching session turn into a Pilates session? So it's this beautiful 360 that what I love, Scott, is still a work in progress. And it's a work in progress because I listen to my community and I listen to what they want. You know how it is. Every once in a while you get tripped up in your head. And then I call it back and I go, yeah, but wait, but what do they really want? And then that's just beautiful for me. And again, it's serving on another level. And as much as I can give back, because again, there were so many people that helped me in a time when thankfully I just was going with the flow and I was going with the universe. And while I was fearful, I wasn't living in fear at that time. And so that was a huge blessing.
Outside of the motivation that you gave yourself and the inspiration that you gave yourself to go down this path, looking back, who do you feel was the biggest initiator of the belief in you that you could grow, be that multi-passionate entrepreneur, grow your coaching practice? Who is that person who ignited the flame for you from, I would say, a motivation standpoint outside of yourself?
I would say definitely my teachers at the Pilates Center, seeing what they did. And I'm a big believer, if you love what you're doing, you're going to love your life. So love your job, and it's never going to be a job, right? And I saw what they did and I saw their passion and what they gave back every day. That was not a job, and it is still not a job for them. And so that was very inspirational for me, and something that, I always strive for every day. And again, there are days that you're an entrepreneur, you're human, you get tripped up. And even yesterday was a great day where when I got in flow with the universe, it began to shift again. So it wasn't so hustle, 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 which, we need to find that balance. And my teachers definitely were an incredible inspiration. And, believe it or not, Joseph Pilates, is and will always be such an incredible inspiration to me through the books that he has written, which he even said at the time he was 50 years ahead of his time. But even through that, like being an intuitive empath, I've been blessed to honestly have conversations with him. And so that is amazing. And that is something that is truly priceless. And, along the way there, Wayne Dyer and so many other people have come into my life, Shannon Kaiser, that began to put all of the pieces together even more so, because you can only see so much when you're in your story. And so that's why I really try to be good about taking the pause and having that panoramic view that I encourage my clients to have.
My wife always says you can't read the label from inside the jar. And
Exactly.
a lot of people keep themselves in the jar, too long, where you can't
Mhm.
really see what's going on. So, the coaching, I would say, profession or industry, kind of sways in two different directions. There's people that love it, they feel they need it, it's great. And then there's a lot of people that maybe they've had a bad experience or they just don't understand the coaching profession. What is something that people need to know about being a coach? Not so much someone that I'm telling you what to do and here's what you have to do. What makes being a coach so special and so unique that people need to start seeing the opportunity to work with someone like yourself just a little bit differently than things they maybe read about online or hear about from people that maybe had a bad experience?
Right. Well, and I agree with you, right? I mean, it's a crapshoot. You really need to do your research and you really have to have great people like yourself or myself, ideally. And I always think of myself as the beacon. I'm the lighthouse that is the light that can help shine in that darkness when you're in it. And when you're in it, you can't see it and you need some light. You need someone on that journey with you who is not going to tell you what to do, but who has an incredible toolbox that can help give you the tools so that you can do the work, because that's what it's all about, doing the work within to make the progressions that you need to make in your life so that you can truly transform and empower yourself, which is something that has always been very important to me, because you'll have those clients that show up and say, well, just like tell me. And it's like, no, this is a path and this is a journey. And even every day, their greatest moments happen on the journey. They don't happen at the grocery store. They don't happen, when you're on your way to the post office. It's point A to point B. It's all the in between stuff. And I think that that is what is really important, to look for someone who wants to be on that journey with you, who has the tools and not just one. Like, I mean, that's how I feel, Scott. I want somebody who is really well rounded, because I'm that kind of person where I need somebody who can come and show up where I'm showing up that day and not just that one singular thing. Not that that's a bad thing, but for me personally, I like somebody that's got that full spectrum of color going on. And I feel that's something that I definitely bring to the table. I know you do as well, Scott, with everything that you've gone through and your journey.
Completely agree. And again, I think doing your due diligence, doing your research. I had a call with a guy the other day, and he said, I've been researching you. I've been listening to your podcast. I downloaded one of your books. I went to your website. I checked out your socials. Like, do your due diligence before you make an investment in yourself, in someone else. Now, Jennifer, if someone was to ask you from an objective point of view, what makes Jennifer a different or unique mindset coach than other people, and what is something that makes her stand out or set her apart from other coaches in her space? What would
Mhm.
you say to that?
I would say the superpower that I have being an intuitive empath, and what numerous clients have always come to say again and again to me is, my God, that session was like a year's worth of therapy that I just had with you. What you just gave me was a lifetime. Like, oh my gosh. And that is the biggest compliment that I feel anyone can give. And I truly do show up for each and every client in that moment. And the intuitive aspect of it and being an empath is that I can see through the bullshit. You cannot bullshit me on anything. And while you may attempt it, I will let you know and guide you, because again, I'm not going to tell you, because I'm going to meet you where you're at. And that's super important too. And so being able to know and see even more, to me also, that's priceless. And I look for that in my coaches when I work with them. I want someone who can go above and beyond. I don't want to keep rehashing the same thing every time we meet. That progress is important. And so being able to walk away from me and having actionable steps every time that can catapult and move you that next, whether it's a pivotal moment, or even if it's just that small step that you're like, oh my gosh, that's what I needed. That light bulb moment, that beacon of light moment through everything that we just went through. And I really do feel that sets me apart, and knowing that when someone comes to me, they're getting hours versus that 1 hour or half an hour they may get from someone else, because of that beautiful gift that I have now learned to love.
I love that. Now, if someone was to ask you, how do you work with people? What kind of shifts do you take people through, and in what ways do you assist someone? So if someone's listening to this and if they wanted to find out if they're the best fit for you and what you do, who's that ideal person that is the best fit for Jennifer, that's going to get the best results to shift their life, to shift their business, to shift their mindset the way that they want it to?
I would say it's that person who's finally come to that moment where they're ready. They're ready to ask for the help. Being able to say, I need help, is the ideal client. The second part of it is being ready to do the work and know that you're going to have to put some work into it. You're not just looking for a quick fix. You're not just looking for the answer. You're looking to connect with the deepest, most amazing places of who you are, to release what is no longer serving you, to allow what needs to come into your world to come into your world, to better it both personally and professionally. And it's in those moments when the beautiful ripple effects take place. I always tell people there's usually a theme playing out. Whatever you're going to come to me for is not really why you're coming to me. And I will know within 5 minutes why you're really there. I will then allow you to get through that process, though. And that, I feel, is what makes a really good coach and mentor and advisor.
I love that. Now, if people want to learn more about Jennifer, what she does, programs that she offers, ways that she can work with people, connecting with her on social media, on and offline, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
The best place is my website, jenniferpilates.com. That is going to give you everything from coaching to Pilates to new retreats that are coming up to my new book that's coming out. That will give you everything.
Amazing. Now, final question before we sign off. What does success truly mean to you?
You gave me pause. You actually brought tears to my eyes. It truly means being happy where I am, being happy with who I am, and being happy with how I'm showing up to the world and being able to serve. That is success.
I couldn't agree more. I think I've done close to 250 interviews at this point on the podcast. We're approaching 500 episodes, and I've asked that question to every single person that I've interviewed, and no one has ever said it's been about the money. It's about being happy. It's about creating a life by design. And the adage, you'll never work a day in your life if you love what you do. And I know people can't see you, they can just hear you, but I can guarantee they can feel how much you love what you do. And I just want to say thank you so much for being here today, sharing your wisdom, your heart, everything that you're doing to pour love and light into my audience. So Jennifer, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much, Scott. It's been a true honor.
Absolutely. And for the listeners, as always, to learn more about Jennifer, what she's doing, how she can serve and help you, you don't have to look far. Go to the show notes, go to the description of this episode, to wherever you're listening to this to and from, and you can obviously click on those links there. But also leave us a rating review. Let us know what you loved most about this episode, or any episode for that matter, so we can continue to make this a wonderful podcast for all of you. And don't forget, the subscription to this podcast has also been launched. So for $2.99 a month, you can unlock a bonus Friday episode. So it's under $1 a week to get more bonus content outside of the Monday and Thursday episodes. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. Please enjoy the rest of your days, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you, everyone, for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.